On this episode of the Sports Opinions Podcast, good friend of the show and host of the Personal Foul Podcast, Colton Gesser joins me as we talk about Madden 20 and NBA 2K20 ratings, and also a little bit of Nets, Knicks, and Lakers free agency. And before we start the show, got to let you know about OvertimeHeroics.com. Great website where you can find awesome sports articles and also join and be an active member in a forum where you can talk to other sports fans and other great podcasts in their podcast network. So without further ado, cue the intro. What's up, sports fans? Welcome to the Sports Opinions Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Alex Cuesta, and I want to start off the show today. I'm going to do something beginning and end of every show now because it's important to me. It's important to the show. Anyone that's listening, if you like what you're hearing, please do me a favor. Wherever you are listening on, give us a nice rating. Give us a nice review if you can. That helps push this show higher up so that more people can get access to it. Word of mouth always helps, but that's a big driver for us here at the Sports Opinions Podcast. So really request that you guys do that. Thank everyone for listening. And with me today is someone you've heard before. Now he has spread his wings and he has flown. He's a new member of Overtime Heroics, the podcast network that I have been doing showcases of for all the talent that goes through it. He's a member of it. His podcast is He's a guy you've heard plenty of times before here, Colton Gesser, Personal Foul podcast host. What's up, Colton?
What's up, Alex? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's always a good time to have you on. Personal Foul podcast, an awesome podcast. You've been getting some great guests. What's on the horizon for you? Real quick, tell some people about the podcast. Tell them where you can find the podcast. Kind of give them a gauntlet of what you do a little bit.
So you can find it on SoundCloud, but I'm getting ready to join Spreaker because I'm starting to get a lot more minutes and stuff. And we've actually been slow on the podcast. I've had a lot of issues family-wise going on, but everything's starting to simmer down now. And actually expecting to have Trevor Lane on, who's a Lakers reporter, verified on Twitter. So I'm excited for that. And, just talk sports and just like this podcast, great podcast. If you're into it, would love for a listen and a like and follow.
Yeah, definitely. And Colin has experience. He did, if anyone's listened before, he did radio over for the local community college sports radio there. He's worked behind the scenes over at a local radio over there, the Rat Radio. So he's not a novice. He does a really good job, so I recommend it. And you're going to get a chance to hear how good of a job Colt does here when we talk about a whole bunch of bevy of things in sports. And we're going to start off with something that shouldn't be relevant to athletes, but it is. Sports ratings on video games. Right now, Madden has released their ratings, and you've had players going absolutely bonkers about it. Keenan Allen flipped the hell out, did a whole entire Twitter video talking about his rating and talking about specific things with speed and deep route running. I think he was an 89, and he was pissed. Colton, should the players really go this nuts about their ratings? I think DeMarcus Lawrence told Cowboys fans to boycott Madden. Do you think that that's a reasonable reaction?
I mean, when you got a guy like Lawrence who's a stud, and same thing with Keenan Allen, he's a very, very good receiver. And, 89 is a little stretch for him. He at least should be a 90, the way he's been for the Chargers for Phillip Rivers. But you know how important it is to these guys. These guys play all these games all the time. It's what they do pretty much on their downtime. You see it with Juju Smith-Schuster with the Steelers. He plays Fortnite all the time. These guys love these games. LeBron loves playing 2K when he's off and doing things. So, I mean, when these guys, play with themselves and see their ratings are so low, some of these guys get a little ticked off.
Now, I agree. Allen probably should be a little higher, but if they take into account his health, he was fairly healthy beginning of his career. He had that devastating injury about 2 years ago now, I think, or last year, and he sat out. I think they kind of want to see what Keenan Allen is before, or what he can continue to develop to be. I think he played last year, and he was good. He was nicked up a little. So I think health has to make a big difference there. DeMarcus Lawrence is just funny telling the Cowboys Nation to boycott Madden, because if half of them do, Madden might be screwed because there's a lot of Cowboys fans. So
There are a lot of Cowboys fans. And to go off your numbers with Keenan Allen, 2016 he had a devastating injury, tore his ACL. He had 6 catches, 63 yards. 2017 he had 102 catches for darn near 1,400 yards and 6 touchdowns. Last year, 97 receptions, darn near 1,200 yards receiving, and 6 touchdowns again. So, I mean, it's not like the guy's a slouch. And then you look at the years before that, he's almost at 800 yards. So, past 2 seasons, he's been good. And usually what Madden does, it's how'd you do the year before and possibly the year before that. And his numbers have been good. So, it's,
Yeah. So we're going to get into the ratings a little bit. We'll talk about the Madden ratings. I want to talk overall about the top 10 guys. We'll run down the gauntlet of who is top 10. And then we're going to go into some of the different specific skill positions. We're going to stick quarterback, running back, receiver, because those have been the biggest impact, I think, in football. And honestly, just navigating through all the positions is kind of a pain in the ass. So we're going to do the top ones. We're going to talk about some of those positions. So top right off the list, kind of, I guess, tied for the best with 99 ratings. Aaron Donald, defensive end for the Rams. DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver for the Texans. Khalil Mack, outside linebacker, rush linebacker, basically, for the Bears. And Bobby Wagner, sitting at, I guess, tied for number 4, is a middle linebacker for the Seahawks. Not going to lie, surprised by DeAndre Hopkins and Bobby Wagner. How about you?
I was very shocked with Bobby Wagner personally. He's very good. He's very good at middle linebacker for Seattle, but 99 is a little bit of a stretch, and I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but as you just said, so I guess it's not just me. I mean, Hopkins is a stud. I mean,
Best wide receiver in the league, though?
I don't know. I think until we're going to see how AB does this year without Ben, but I think it goes Julio personally, AB, Hopkins, and then 4 or 5 you can toss in Michael Thomas.
OBJ has to be in there. I know people don't like him, but Beckham has to be up there in the top 5.
Yeah, I have him like 6, but you can make. Like I said, I don't have a solid 5, so you can make the case that he's my 5th.
All right, so we'll continue on with the list. At number 5, Antonio Brown with the 98 rating. 6, Julio Jones with the 98 rating. 7, Luke Kuechly with the 98. 8, David Bakhtiari with left tackle out of Green Bay, 97. 9 is Todd Gurley. 10 is Patty Mahomes, and we're going to continue with the rest of the 97, so I guess they're tied for 10th. Von Miller with the 97, J.J. Watt, 97. Odell Beckham sitting right outside of there, Tom Brady, Fletcher Cox, Travis Kelce, Zach Martin, Jalen Ramsey with 96s. It's pretty crazy. You look at some of these guys, they went very wide receiver heavy. The only running back in the top tier is Todd Gurley. Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback with the 97. I don't know. I think this is the first year. A lot of people are flipping out about these ratings. This might be the first year where Madden kind of went against the grain and didn't do completely the fan popular thing. Did you have that same feeling with these ratings?
Yeah, they like we're 2K, and where it used to be Madden, they'd hand out quarterbacks at really high ratings, where this year they did not. They actually did the opposite, and they kind of did something that 2K does with badges, and they give a lot of these players special perks in the game, which is actually kind of neat and pretty cool that they're doing. But I kind of like that they're not handing out great ratings all over the place. But then you got some guys that actually deserve to have good ratings, and they're not giving them good ratings. Like, no offense, Rivers had a great season last year. No business being a 94. But you know what's crazy? Everybody talks how Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league. Aaron Rodgers is a 90.
Which I don't agree with at all.
No.
90 is way too low. Now, I have to ask you a question. I see Snacks Harrison is up there with the 95. The man finally has his respect, now playing for the Detroit Lions this upcoming year. Snacks Harrison was undrafted on the Jets, came in, worked his ass off, became the best nose tackle in the game. Is 95 too high for a guy who's really just a run-stopping nose tackle?
I think it is. I mean, especially when you look at all the other ratings that they're doing. I mean, I don't know. He's very good, as you just touched on. He's one of the best D tackles in football, and you see it in the run game. But 95 for Snacks Harrison, I think, is a little bit of a stretch, especially when you look at all the other positions that they, didn't have high ratings for. So, I don't know. I think they did a lot of questionable ones this year. And, especially like you touched on with DeMarcus Lawrence. Lawrence is a very, very talented defensive end in this league. one of the top guys in football, and he got paid too. So, I mean, when he's an 89 behind guys like Brandon Graham, Cam Jordan, I mean, I don't know.
Now,
Michael Pierce, I don't know. Maybe
I got to ask you, I'm going to talk about our two favorite teams. You're a Steelers fan. I'm a Jets fan. Your highest guy is David DeCastro with a 93 rating. Our highest guy is Le'Veon Bell, former Steeler, Jets running back now, 90 with a 92. Do you think that those two are the best players on their respective teams?
No, it's easily Ben. Ben got disrespected in this, and it is what it is. I mean, he should be like an 88, 89. I'm not going to make a big fuss out of it. It's not that big of a deal because I think – and Sam Darnold got slandered too, which is a little BS. I think him and Josh Allen both got killed. I think they're like 76, 77.
74, 76. It's something – I think they're both 74s.
It's ridiculous. No business. They both are very talented and all over Baker. They're all over the Browns and Baker. It's crazy. I mean, Baker had a great season last year. Don't get me wrong. Broke the touchdown record, but Sam Darnold and Josh Allen are very good quarterbacks and they're very good young quarterbacks. So, and as you touched on, I think Ben is the better player, but David DeCastro is one of the top 2 or 3 guards in football. And I just think the Steelers got slandered, I think, to be honest. I was looking up the numbers. I looked at the stats. Cam Hayward's not even on this list for defensive end, and it's ridiculous. When you look at his stats over the past few seasons, and T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt is an 83. T.J. Watt has 20 sacks in his first 2 seasons in the league.
How is the only thing I want to pump the brakes on, Colton, for everyone, fans, celebrities, anyone playing, the one thing that Madden does different than a lot of other games is they will every once in a while completely change the way that their system plays, the way that their engine, I guess, plays in the games. So even though these ratings are differing, like you said, they added these badges, they added these different superstar perks that guys have. So even though a guy might have a lower rating, if you meet that certain perk, it'll then boost them to be the player that we think that they're going to be. Do you think that they kind of went in mind with watching tape? Because I guarantee the people at Madden, I guarantee, watch just as much tape as anyone at NFL Films. So they will understand what these players can and can't do. I kind of, it's fun talking about this, but I don't want to completely pass judgment until we get a chance to actually see how the game plays. Is that fair?
I don't disagree, especially with the perks. I think it's really cool. Like, you see how good Drew Brees is in a dome. And goodness gracious, he's the only one with that perk. He's pretty much like a 99 when he's at home. He's unstoppable at home.
And then he's a very good quarterback away. And in cold weather, he's only above average for the most part.
Yep. It definitely – and they gave perks to the bigger quarterbacks too, like Cam and Ben. So I like the perks. I think they're doing something that 2K has been doing for a while now, and I like it. It's definitely going to make the game a lot more interesting. And if you get one of these top players, it's going to make a difference. So I think that's what's really intriguing going into this season, where you're actually going to have to take a good quarterback.
Yes, and we'll talk about the quarterbacks real quick. We'll run down those ratings. And the one thing I do like about the quarterback position in this Madden is we say all the time, it's a quarterback-driven league. It's a quarterback-driven league. And every time you play Madden, you could be your favorite team with whatever quarterback they have and still win games. Because if you're decent at Madden, if you finagle a little bit, you can win games in whatever way. With the way the quarterback ratings are this year, you absolutely need to have a good quarterback, it looks like. Because if you're at the lower tier quarterbacks, it's going to be just like the NFL. You're going to struggle to win games. Let's go through the quarterbacks. Top quarterback, Patty Mahomes with the 97. I'm iffy on that one. Number 2, Tom Brady with the 96. His skills are so diminished. He's not a 99 for once. Phil Rivers, 94. Drew Brees, 92. Andrew Luck, 92. Russell Wilson, 91. As you mentioned, Aaron Rodgers, 90. Then we get down Matt Ryan, 89. And after that, it's a big drop-off to Big Ben at 85. Cam Newton, 84. Jared Goff, 83. With Baker, 83. And we'll stop over with Deshaun at 82 and Carson Wentz at 82. Because then you have other guys, down in the 81, 81, 80 with Cousins, Prescott, Derek Carr, Andy Dalton. We mentioned how low Sam Darnold and Josh Allen were. They were underneath Ryan Fitzpatrick. Lamar Jackson's ahead of those two guys. So there's certain things to disagree with on this list. How do you feel that after one unbelievably great year, Patty Mahomes is the best quarterback in the game? Do you agree with that?
He should be at least a 90. I mean, 97's a stretch. He had a great season. I want to see consistency. And no offense, you could say the same thing with Rivers. Rivers, everybody had Rivers in the MVP talk, and here we go, giving out 94s to Philip Rivers.
Rivers has been really good for his whole career, though.
Yes,
He has a body of work that goes behind giving him this 94 after finally having the breakthrough year with a team that probably could have and should have been in the Super Bowl.
All right, but I'm giving you numbers. Last season's numbers comparing Big Ben versus Philip Rivers. Ben blew him away numbers-wise, passing yards. 5,129 yards passing, 34 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. His rating's an 85. Philip Rivers threw for 4,308 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. He's a 94. What makes sense there? Nothing. At those numbers, Ben should be a 90, not an 85. So I don't understand the numbers there. Like, that doesn't add up. When Ben had darn near almost over 1,000 yards more than Rivers did, had 2 more passing touchdowns, but he did have 4 more interceptions.
They definitely took into account how far your team went into the playoffs. They definitely did this year, where the Steelers did not, and Philip Rivers was a championship potential team. Now, one thing I have an issue with, Andrew Luck being a 92 and Aaron Rodgers being a 90. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is better than Andrew Luck at this point in his career, and people are going to get mad at me for that. 1 year does not give me a superstar. 1 year gives me a very good player. Robert Griffin III, everyone went crazy over him after 1 year. The dude basically his leg fell off. There's so many players that we go gaga for over 1 year. And don't get me wrong, Patty Mahomes, I've been down on him. It's documented. I have not been the highest fan of his. I conceded. He's a great player. Let's see him continue to do it. Guys like Brady, guys like Breeze, guys even like Rivers, Big Ben. I got to give it to Russell Wilson. Those guys have done it year after year after year after year. Patty Mahomes, now that has Tyreek Hill possibly not playing, lost his running back. Let's see what he does now. This is a good test this year for Patty Mahomes.
I don't disagree. I think Hill's going to end up playing.
As he should. If all the things that have been coming out lately that he didn't do any of the allegations that were against him, the guy should play.
I hear you. Without a doubt, that phone call that came out that was not good. But apparently he's all cleared and he should be playing. He should be reinstated right now. If everything's gone through with the NFL, which they have, they've had their meetings and there's been no issues. He should be reinstated and should be practicing, or I mean, not practicing yet because there's really nothing going on right now till training camp in a few weeks. But yeah, they're gonna be good, and that's what you also touched on. He's had a ton of weapons last year to work with. Not a lot of guys have had that. Look at Sam Darnold; doesn't really have a number one receiver. So, and his line,
you bite your tongue.
He didn't really have a good O-line last year. He didn't have a really good running back. For this year, he's going to have a very, very good running back. He's going to have some receivers. I mean, Chris Henderson got suspended the first.
Chris Herndon's an idiot, but
yeah, you can't fix stupid sometimes. Alex. I'm going to make that line famous one day. You can't fix stupid, but
we could blame this on Rob and Joe for taking the picture with him.
You know what? We're right. We're going to blame Rob and Joe on this one.
So we're going to move on. Quarterbacks, obviously, we have some grievances. We're going to move on to running back because I have some grievances. Todd Gurley is not better than Ezekiel Elliott. I'm sorry. Todd Gurley does not deserve to be a 97. Todd Gurley cannot stay on a football field. If you cannot stay on a football field, you did not deserve to be the best player in football. Ezekiel Elliott can't stay on a football field because he makes stupid decisions, but he is durable and he plays. Le'Veon Bell, durable and he plays. He sat out himself last year, but he's not as big of an injury risk. Melvin Gordon gets hurt all the time. Saquon Barkley is a 95, not a 91. These types of things piss me off where I don't understand where they're getting their numbers from. Christian McCaffrey, a 91 is way too low. The guy's at least a 93, 94 in my eyes. I think they screwed up the running back numbers completely. What do you think?
I also have to agree there. But as you touched on, though, with who the heck you just say? I'm drawing a blank. Saquon Barkley, excuse me. I was a 91. Well, you got to see it next year, too, so maybe that's why he's a 91.
Running backs are different, though.
I was just going to say, I know running backs are different because they're not throwing balls over the field. But the year Mahomes had last year, you have to have him up there. But I think 97, as we touched on, is a stretch. He should be like a 95, 93 in that range.
Speaking of the Steelers' disrespect, James Conner is underneath Tevin Coleman, Deion Lewis, Dalvin Cook, who didn't play all of last year, Nick Chubb, who was a rookie last year as well, Phillip Lindsay, rookie last year, and Connor had an unbelievable year. Don't get me wrong. I don't think James Conner's the second coming, but an 83 is disrespectful. He's a guy, I think he's a high 80s guy. I don't think I'd put him in the 90s yet, but I think high 80s is a functional number for him.
He should be at least an 85, 86. He had almost 1,000 yards. He missed 3 games. If he plays at least one, he's over 1,000 yards. He had 12 touchdowns on the season, 12 touchdowns. He had better numbers this season than Le'Veon Bell has had as a Steeler. And figure all the numbers Bell has had, all-purpose yards, this and that. The numbers that he had were
obviously not the same impact. We could talk numbers all we want, but Le'Veon Bell's impact was obvious. He's a game breaker. Nobody planned for Connor, even in his greatness. They planned for AB, they planned for Juju, they planned for Big Ben. Connor was just there. Can we be honest here? You planned for Le'Veon Bell. I'm sorry, I hate to burst your Steeler fan bubble. Nobody planned for Connor even after he had like 300-yard games in a row. Nobody cared. They didn't.
I don't know about that. I mean, you got to think Bell was also in the mix for a while where James Conner wasn't. James Conner wasn't in the mix here. James Conner got tossed into the lineup here and was like, all right, you're a starter guy now. And he came right out of the box working. So
yeah, Colton, the game plan was let Connor beat us. He can't. And he didn't. I'm sorry.
He did beat
teams. He didn't win many games.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but Le'Veon Bell would have won more games.
Last year.
I digress. We're talking about Madden. But so I agree that Connor got disrespected. Let's go to a position now. We're going to end with wide receivers here. They were very happy with giving around 90s here. They gave 90s to almost everyone besides Keenan Allen. AJ Green's only a 90 behind Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs. What the hell are they thinking giving AJ Green a 90?
Well, AJ Green's numbers have been down the past few seasons, which isn't his fault. Andy Dalton's been hurt. There has been good quarterback play even from Andy Dalton, but he's a talented receiver. If you put him on a team with the actual franchise quarterback, imagine putting him at Aaron Rodgers, what they would do. Hello. Couldn't imagine.
It would be really fun. Now, one guy I want to address, Cooper Kupp's only an 84. Cooper Kupp was the cog that kept that Rams team turning because he was Goff's favorite target. And he's below Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks, his own two teammates who are 87s, who were on the field late in the season and did not have the same relationship. Should a relationship and comfort count when these ratings come through?
They should. Cooper Kupp was Goff's go-to guy. And, same thing with Goff's overall is low. He's an 83. It's ridiculous. He should be at least an 85, but I know we're on wide receivers now. They handed out a ton of 90s to wideouts, and you got some questionable ones, but I don't know. It's definitely interesting, the numbers they handed out.
Yeah. I'll just go through the top 10 real quick for receivers as we're talking on them. DeAndre Hopkins, 99. AB is a 98. Julio Jones, 98. Odell Beckham's their fourth best receiver at 96. Michael Thomas is a 95 at 5. Tyreek Hill at 6 at a 94. Adam Thielen, 7, 94. Stephon Diggs, 93. Is 8, 99, sitting at 9. Devontae Adams, 92. And tied for 10 is Mike Evans and T.Y. Hilton. I don't like the bottom half of that. I'm okay with the top half. So that's how I feel on the receivers.
Yeah, everybody's going to have their disagreements, especially this year, the way they handed out numbers. And it all started with the quarterbacks and even the running backs. So
I do have to say they were fair to Juju Smith-Schuster. I think 88 is a very good number for him. I think that is we have to see what he is as a number one receiver, getting release on double teams, but I think 88 is very fair for him.
It is. You saw sparks of it last year, what he can do, especially against that Jacksonville secondary where Ben went to him at the end of the game, and he was making plays on A.J. Boye and Ramsey for that matter. But I agree, no complaints there. My whole complaint was from James Conner, Ben a little bit. It is what it is. It's not that big of a deal to me. The Steelers are a prove themselves team this year, so it doesn't really bother me. It is what it is. It's a down season last year, but the way people are counting them out this year after losing AB is kind of crazy.
Yeah, so we're going to move on. That was the Madden ratings. Now, not to be outdone, because the NBA is doing a great job cutting in on the NFL's time of usually it's NFL 24/7 all year round. This summer has been the summer of the NBA. And not to be outdone in the video game world, Madden drops their ratings, and Ronnie 2K Online NBA 2K20 drops their early top 20 and a few different other ratings. And I'm not going to lie, even though the Madden ratings were the it thing, the top 20 did do really good in kind of stealing some show there. I'm going to go over the top 20 on this list. You let me know how you feel in the end. LBJ, new Laker, is a 97. Kawhi Leonard tied for him at 97 at 2. 3, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 96. 4, KD, 96. 5, James Harden, 96. 6, Steph Curry, 96. 7, Anthony Davis, 94. 8, Paul George, 93. 9 is Dame Lillard, 92. 10 is Embiid, 91. 11, Kyrie Irving, 91. 12, Nikola Jokic, 90. 13, Russell Westbrook, 90. 14, Klay Thompson, 89. 15, Karl Anthony Towns, 89. 16, Jimmy Butler, 88. 17, Kemba, 88. 18, Donovan Mitchell, 88. 19, Rudy Gobert, 88. 20, Blake Griffin, 88. Who do you have a problem with? Do you like this list?
I got some different numbers in my list, but they're all relatively similar. But I don't know. I think Durant should be at least a 97 up there with LeBron and Kawhi. You got to figure out how dominant Durant was before he got injured. He easily should be a 97. It's not even. I mean, it's only one extra overall, but he's a dog. Kevin Durant is a dog. He easily should be 97.
He's Brooklyn's dog now. Haha.
I'm very excited for Brooklyn. Very happy for your Brooklyn Nets. I love that they took him away from the Knicks. I love it.
We're gonna get to that in our next segment, but how about the bottom half? Nikola Jokic had a breakout year. He's up there in the 90. I like him there. I don't like Russell Westbrook only being a 90. I feel like that's disrespectful. Klay Thompson, 89. There's some.
But when you look at Westbrook's numbers this year, they were kind of down. He didn't shoot well from the perimeter. He didn't shoot well from the free throw line. And again,
he deferred a lot to Paul George to make Paul George the player he was.
Well, Paul George is the best player on that team.
Absolutely not.
Yes, he was. Oh, my Lord.
Absolutely.
He was the best player on that team.
Absolutely not. That's not true.
It's very true.
Russell Westbrook is better than Paul George.
No, sir. No, sir. I'll fight you tooth and nail on that one. Not even close.
So you're wrong, but we will move on.
Yeah. Of course. Alex Costa thing. You're wrong. No, sir. I'm right.
It is my show, so I can tell you you're wrong on your show.
Hats off to you. I don't have to add on, but hats off to you.
I was surprised. Rudy Gobert cracking the top 20 with an 88. That's respect for the defending two-time Defensive Player of the Year. Is he an 88? Are they putting him out of position or out of his league there?
No, he's an 88. It's a good number for him. Putting some respect on how good he is defensively. And he can score the ball offensively. I know he's a back-to-the-basket kind of guy. He doesn't really extend and shoot the three-pointer or anything. But easily he's always on the glass. 88 is a good number for him.
All right, so they also released their top 5 rookies. Zion Williamson leading the charge with an 81. John Morant, 79. RJ Barrett, 78. DeAndre Hunter and Darius Garland both getting 77s. Are they too high for the top 5 that we're seeing more impact numbers here than we have in a while?
I mean, I was kind of shocked when they handed out an 81 for Zion. I was actually expecting some crazy number like an 85, 86, something crazy when he hasn't touched a foot on the floor. But I think the numbers are okay. I really don't have any big complaints. Who was second on the list? I'm thinking John Morant.
John Morant. He's a 79. I like Williamson and John Morant being 81, 79. I think those two deserve it. I think there should be more of a drop-off. I don't think RJ Barrett's 78 worthy. I think he should be more somewhere in like the 74, 73 range.
I was thinking 74, 76.
But this is also coming from me who thinks both DeAndre Hunter and Darius Garland are better players than RJ Barrett. So I'm kind of, unfair to RJ in a sense where I don't think his game's going to translate into star potential. So I'm kind of in the minority there, but I do think he's a little high, and I think you should drop DeAndre Hunter and Darius Garland both into the low 70s.
Yeah, I mean, I just love that they didn't get Zion on the Knicks, but RJ Barrett is very good. I mean, he's still very good at Duke. Shot the three well, can get a bucket when he wants, and he's very good. They're going to be fine with the Knicks getting him. and his number is fine. He can get a bucket. He's going to translate well into the league too. As much as I'd like to see the Knicks continue to be bad, they got a good kid at 3.
I'm just on record with saying the man shrunk when Zion Williamson got hurt. Him and Cam Reddish shrunk, couldn't handle the pressure, and they lost some games and played too many close games than they should have. All I'm saying about that, and if you can't handle it at Duke in college, you're not going to handle it, especially in the Garden.
I'll agree there. They did kind of disappear without Zion on the floor.
They just shot like idiots, and RJ just hoisted up a bunch of shots.
Yep, I was just about to say he is a ball hog. He's kind of a ball hog, which he cannot be in the league. He's not good enough yet to be. Give me the ball. I'm going to get a bucket right here.
Melo was the best scorer in the game up there with Kevin Durant when the Knicks had him, and people were mad at him for being a ball hog.
Yeah, got to be able to move the ball around.
All right, so we're going to jump into the top 5 shooters. 2K let out their shooter ratings, top 5 shooters. No surprise here, Steph Curry and Clay 1 and 2, 99 and 97 with their shooting rating. Joe Harris, Brooklyn Nets represent 94, the third best shooter. Then you have JJ Redick with 90, and a surprise, Buddy Hield jumping in with the 90 as the 5th best shooter. Buddy Hield getting a lot of respect with that number right there that he deserved after playing his ass off for the Kings last year. And I'm still surprised to see how good he did. I really want him to be good again because I feel like this is our next Victor Oladipo story where kind of fell off a cliff, didn't think he was going to be anything, and then boom, here he comes. You surprised Trae Young's number isn't up there?
Trae Young had a very good season, and same with Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield had a very good season for the Sacramento Kings. They fell off in the second half of the season, which was disappointing because De'Aaron Fox and him and Willie Cauley-Stein were a good mix. And it was bad for them that Marvin Bagley was pretty much out all season, banged up. But it is respect. You know, you got to start giving respect to guys that are having good seasons. Is it a stretch at 90 for Buddy Hield? Maybe, because he hasn't done it consistently. But he did. He had a great season last year for the Kings. And, giving a guy respect like that. And as you did touch on, it'd be great to see him have a very good career, another Victor Oladipo story kind of thing.
Yep, without the injury, hopefully. And I'm just really happy to see Joe Harris getting the respect that he deserved. He was the percentage-wise the best three-point shooter in the game last year, won the three-point contest, beating guys like Curry and Thompson. So he gets the respect that he deserves. Really happy. And JJ, honestly, they should just give JJ like 150 every year and just make him like not actually on the list because he just does things with shooting. Him and Kyle Korver are both unfair. Kyle Korver should be up there as well. So I digress. We're going to go on to the last list that they let out, which kind of caused a little bit of a stir and caused excitement in Brooklyn, even though we're not going to see Kevin Durant play for 2 years. They let out their top dynamic duo ratings, basically the best 2 players combined average score. Number 1 probably got your pants rumbling a little bit. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they average a 95.5 together. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George average a 95 when they're combined. KD and Kyrie Irving for Brooklyn average a 93.5, and James Harden and Russell Westbrook averaged a 93 flat. That's some exciting stuff, and that tells me that in 2 years, according to 2K, as long as Kyrie has another good season, Brooklyn has the best duo in the East if this continues and everything stays status quo. That excites me. Do you think that these dynamic duo averages, are they fun or do they mean anything really for the game, or are they just fun for people to look at?
They're just fun for people to look at. I mean, it's now hard to look at it. You got to look at the teams with the highest overalls players, and it's common sense from there. You got 2 guys in the 90s with the 97 and 94, but those numbers averaged, they're clearly going to be the best. AD and LeBron are going to be unfair in 2K. And same thing for Kawhi, Paul George, and Kyrie and Durant. It's not going to be fair. So I guess you're going to have to skip those teams and, you're not allowed to use them in 2K because it's going to be ridiculous with some of these teams.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So we're going to jump into actual basketball now. Both of our favorite teams had very good free agencies. We'll probably touch on a little Knicks because I am not – you're kind of – we get exhausted a little because we have some of our friends. You guys have heard Matt Santos in here before, Rob Planter, our good buddies. They're Knicks fans. They're hurting, so they lash out. And it's okay, guys. We're here for you. Go listen to The Fan. It's still a therapy chair for Knicks fans. But I'm not here for the Knicks bashing. I thought the Knicks did a seriously good job in salvaging this offseason. People make fun of them for all the power forwards they got, but they have professionals, veterans that have played in the NBA for a long time, know how to play, the guys that have actually won before in the NBA as well, to go along with their young core. I have them as a fringe playoff team, and I'm actually happy that the Knicks front office just didn't go throw money around. I'm not bashing them at all. How do you feel? Do you think the Knicks – I thought the Knicks did a good job salvaging the season after missing out on the big guys.
As funny as it was missing out of the big guys, it did do a pretty solid job building around R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, who's a very, very young, talented – you can call him a 4. He can do it all. He can handle the ball well, so you can call him a 3. I mean, he doesn't have the jumper for the 3, but
well, yeah, you know Julius from being a Laker.
Great job as a Laker. Stinks that they couldn't hold on to him, but drafted him high out of Kentucky.
And you forget Mitch Robinson's going to be next to him playing center. You have Knox playing the 3. You have Dennis Smith Jr. running point. That is a good squad there. It's a good young group. They're not going to be great yet, but they have potential to be very good.
If Kevin Knox takes a step this year, they're going to be in a good spot. I can easily actually touch on being an 8 seed, especially out in the East. The East definitely got a lot weaker with Kawhi leaving. I mean, the Bucks are going to be very good. The Nets are going to be like a 5 seed without Durant this year, 4 or 5 seed. It's going to be interesting this year. And as you touched on with the Knicks, they did a very good job. As much as it's hilarious that they missed out on Kyrie and Kevin Durant, they did a very good job salvaging what they, what was out there on the market.
And they bring in Reggie Bullock, who's going to start probably over RJ, or they might kind of share. Reggie Bullock, even if he comes off the bench, that's a professional scorer. Marcus Morris coming off the bench, that is a professional scorer that can play 3-4, because you also have Bobby Portis that can come off, play a little 4-5-ish. You have, they did nice things this offseason. Taj Gibson can play the 5, and he's just a savvy veteran. You know what? The thing is, they got a lot of 4s, because 4s can play 3, 5, 4 now in the NBA. They're super versatile.
They have stretch guys. Bobby Portis can stretch the floor. Same thing.
Outside of Randall, all their 4s can shoot.
I mean, Randall's starting to get a jump shot too. So.
He is. So I'm actually very okay with what the Knicks did. It's smart, and it's just showing the shift in the professionalism of that front office. It's Scott Perry with Steve Mills, with David Fizdale at the coach. Their plan is not flashy. It's kind of where the Nets were about 2 years ago. Let's get professionals on the court. Let's play good basketball. Let's let our young guys grow. And if we show that we can win and we have a good coach, God, if they make the playoffs this year and they're competitive next year, maybe making the playoffs, Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be in a Knicks uniform. If they are competitive the next 2 years, that is a no-brainer. That's a without a doubter in my eyes.
I wouldn't say if they're competitive. I need to see RJ and Knox and Dennis Smith become something special. I mean, they're good talent, but you said the same thing with the Lakers. We were waiting for Ingram, Lonzo, one of these guys to take a step and all right, there's star potential in these guys. And then you can attract some big free agents like a Giannis Antetokounmpo, but I just don't see him leaving Milwaukee.
But I absolutely do.
Knicks, I do not.
I absolutely. Here's the thing. All right, so let's put it this way: say the Nets sizzle and they play well and they, are contenders. Maybe if I'm lucky, potentially win or get to the finals. Okay, and you have all these guys playing well. Giannis wants to come, and you could do what the Lakers did. You can package these young, talented guys now that are actual stars or borderline stars in the league and get another superstar. And tell me Giannis wouldn't be attracted and come into play in one of the biggest markets in the world, one of the biggest franchises in the world, with a partner.
I don't see it. Not with Giannis. I don't. I personally don't see it.
Oh, I absolutely do. And I'm not – and I have no love for the Knicks, but
of course,
I absolutely see that happening. I absolutely do.
I don't. I see him being a quiet, hardworking guy. I see him staying in Milwaukee, especially that they just locked up his partner in crime, Chris Middleton, which I think that was a bad contract. But they couldn't do anything with that. I'm
sorry, but quiet and hardworking, if you look at the team they put together, it's what they're starting to go for. It's what they are starting. But outside of basically Marcus Morris, who was flashy, but he put his head down and was gritty last year and over the last few years, they are putting together professionals, and they have a new culture coming in. I'm telling you right now, If they hang around the 8 seed this year and maybe jump up to a 6 seed next year, Giannis Antetokounmpo will jump ship. I'm telling you, I'm calling it right now.
All right. Well, I guess after the year we're gonna make a bet here
We
because
can.
I'll put my money on that he's staying in Milwaukee unless RJ becomes a star, like a star. I'm not saying a good player. I'm saying a star in the league or Kevin Knox, somebody. He's not going to leave there.
They have to get to Karis LeVert or Jared Allen's potential, and they'll come because that's exactly why Kyrie and KD came. Because you see a guy in Karis LeVert on my Nets that can be a 20-a-night guy. He was a 20-a-night guy. Took over the playoffs last year when no one else was playing against the Sixers. It was a Karis LeVert show.
I told you guys.
And then Jared Allen's developing into an actual legitimate center, and he blocks everyone. Everyone.
Yeah. I told you guys about LeVert, so I'll take full credit for this one.
You ain't taking full. You know, John Beeline could take credit for recruiting him. You take nothing.
I told you guys when you drafted him, if Karis LeVert stays on the floor, he's a stud.
So we're starting to talk about my Nets. We're going to continue transition. So everyone knows Kyrie Irving chose the Nets. He brought along with him, or they kind of came as a package deal together. Kevin Durant chose to come to the Nets as well. He's injured. He's getting surgery or got surgery on his Achilles. A surgeon is the Brooklyn Nets team doctor, which definitely helped there. If anyone that thinks it didn't help, they're out of their mind. That definitely helped. And right now, the Nets, to me, are sitting very well where they are. They brought in Taurean Prince, who's going to be our starting stretch for. Wilson Chandler, who's going to come off the bench and is very sneaky in that we brought in a guy who's just a straight professional and is a really good basketball player. We still have Spencer Dinwiddie, still have Joe Harris. Brought DeAndre Jordan along with the other two guys as basically the third member of that group. The Nets, even without Durant right now, are set up to improve their seed in the playoffs this year. I'm excited for what they're going to do and what they're going to be. Injuries taken out of it, I think my Nets are a 4 seed. How about you?
Yeah, they're going to be a 4 seed this year, I think. Kyrie, as long as Kyrie puts together a good campaign again for the Nets, they built a very good roster, the Nets. They did a very good job. DeAndre Jordan was a good pickup. He's going to eat the glass alongside Jared Allen. So they did a good job building that roster out, and it all comes back to the management. Management did a great job fixing the mess after the Boston deal. They brought in the right guys with marks and fixed this roster up, and look at them. Now they are the number 1 team in New York. I don't care about the Garden. The Mecca is irrelevant. It's been irrelevant for the past few years. I will fight this tooth and nail.
I'm not going there yet.
I'm going there. It's been irrelevant. Let me know the last time something's happened in the Mecca. See the Rangers winning any cups? No, sir. You see the Knicks doing anything? No, sir.
They had Linsanity.
Yeah. Oh, Linsanity got me going over here. No shot.
Now, here's a question to you, and this might be, my Nets showing. But if Karis LeVert becomes that 20 to 25 a point night guy, Jared Allen takes another step, has a body you can really bang with the Drummonds who beat him up a little last year and the Pau Gasols. If he becomes that guy defensively, and Kyrie is Kyrie Irving, and even in Boston, Kyrie had some of the best numbers of his career, so Boston fans are just salty that they lost him. If Kyrie and LeVert take that mantle, we saw what D'Angelo and LeVert could do when they're playing. And then if Joe Harris has a better year or even as good, and Spencer Dinwiddie, people forget Spencer Dinwiddie is 25 or 26. He's young. He gets better, and he becomes more that Lou Will style 6-man where you want him on the floor at the end of the game too. Can the Nets be better than a 4 seed? Can they challenge the Bucks and the Sixers and those guys and even the Celtics?
Easily, yes. Yep. If all goes well for the Nets, yes they can. The East is pretty, I wouldn't say weak right now, but Toronto's now lost. You could possibly see them not making the playoffs this year. Definitely, easily. There's a lot of pieces still in Brooklyn, even without Durant there. Yes, easily. Nets could definitely be in the mix.
Now we're going to close out the show with the Showtime. We're going to talk about your Lakers. Obviously, you guys got Anthony Davis, but that's not only what you did. You have built a roster there. You guys have built a roster, and you have got a lot of nice pieces there. Now, I'm excited for what the Lakers are going to be. I think it's going to be fun seeing the Lakers and the Clippers battle now. I think that's some of the best thing for the NBA could have done. I know you wanted Kawhi to go to your Lakers, but God, did the NBA just became fun with Kawhi going to the Clippers now. How do you feel about your Lakers and now the rivalry, the legitimate rivalry? It's not like it was when CP3 and Griffin were there and they were still kind of mad. You have the defending NBA champion, Kawhi Leonard, leaving, and he literally carried that Raptors team, going over to team with Paul George, who you're higher on than I am, on a really good Clippers team that has Patrick Beverley and Lou Williams there as well. That's a good team. Are you excited about the rivalry and what your Lakers are going to do this year?
I'm very excited. It's definitely good for basketball, as you said. And LA is going to be the talk of the town right now. And, they built a very good roster out. They didn't panic and just toss money at guys that didn't deserve money. They built out a very solid roster. Most underrated signing is DeMarcus Cousins. I will put money in that one as well. DeMarcus Cousins is going to be healthy for the Lakers. He's played with AD before, and his numbers were very good with Anthony Davis and Rondo. I love the DeMarcus Cousins signing. I love it. He's going to be healthy, and I'm very happy for the Lakers, man. I'm so tired of the poverty. You all call me a bandwagon fan. I was on the decline of Kobe Bryant, didn't see any championships. I saw guys like Robert Sacre, Jody Meeks, Kendall Marshall, Ryan Kelly on the floor. You have to be kidding me. I saw bums on the floor. Steve Blake. I'm so happy that –
Hey, you leave Steve Blake alone.
Hey,
Steve Blake is the third member of any big three. You hear me right now.
Hey, man, Steve Blake shot the ball very well from downtown, but I'm very excited what's going on now. And they really didn't panic, other than giving KCP the amount of money they did, which I wasn't too happy about.
But he's a shooter. But KCP's a shooter. Danny Green's a shooter. Jared Dudley's a shooter. They did what they didn't do last year, and they put shooters around LeBron, who is going to be the point guard of the team. Now, I have to ask you, who's the third member of their big three? Is it Cousins or is it Kuzma? I'm going to say to start the year, it's definitely Kuzma.
To start the season, it's going to be Kuzma. We're going to see what their lineup comes out with opening night, and we'll see. I mean, they got some pieces. I like it. I prefer, as you disagree with me 1,000% on this one, I think Kuzma should come off the bench personally.
No way.
I like Rondo at the 1 because Rondo could run the offense. Danny Green at the 2, LeBron at the 3. You're going to have AD at the 4, JaVale at the 5.
Kuzma starts for 30 out of 30 teams in the NBA.
I understand that, but he's great off the bench.
No, he's not Lou Williams. He's not Spencer Dinwiddie. He's not one of those types of talents who's great but is a spark plug. No. He is the type of guy who has superstar potential. You don't put a superstar on the bench. You don't do it. You don't. You're out of your damn mind if you put a superstar on the bench. The only time he should be on the bench is when he plays for Team USA. That's when he can come off the bench.
We disagree on this one, but agree to disagree. But
that is just fine. So are the Lakers the favorites in your eyes? Because let's not forget the Nuggets are a really, really good team. The Nuggets are probably still the best team in the West depth-wise. So you got the Nuggets, you got the Clippers, the Warriors are still there.
I don't know about Denver being the best team depth-wise. I think the Clippers and the Lakers built their rosters out where they actually – it's not like you're just top-heavy. They still have solid pieces. Avery Bradley coming over.
And then you have Portland, though. But Portland's going to get Nurkic back. Don't forget, Nurkic is going to come back this year.
And Hassan Whiteside.
And they have Whiteside. So Portland got better. They're basically getting a free agent back when Nurkic gets healthy.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have the Lakers or the Clippers at the 1 and 2. I think I'm going to have – and the Jazz. The Utah Jazz are going to be very, very good. I have the Utah Jazz being the number 1 seed.
Really?
Yeah, easily. Mike Conley coming over.
Mike Conley's a little bit of a shell of himself, though.
Oh, no way. Mike Conley should be an all-star already.
Number 1 ahead of Denver. I think Denver, after last year especially, they might be the best team. What about the Rockets, too? Can't leave the Rockets out of there getting
not touching the Rockets.
Getting Westbrook there.
Nope, not touching the Rockets. With the
Vegas likes the Rockets. I think Vegas had the Rockets as the top seed.
That's great. Vegas is going to have them as the top seed. I'm going to have them at like a 6.
Wow.
6 seed.
Disrespectful.
Not disrespectful. The West is deep.
And what about Dallas? Luka's going to take a step. Kristaps Porzingis comes back healthy. Watch out. If Kristaps Porzingis with Luka Doncic, that could be the best duo in the West. It really could.
There's a lot of ifs that can go on. The West is going to be interesting. I even have the Pelicans at the 8th seed in my predictions.
People need to pump the brakes on the Pelicans. Everyone thinks that Zion's going to come out and be Sean Kemp.
Nope, it's not. It's not even Zion. It's not even Zion. That's not even why I have them as an 8th seed.
David Griffin did a very nice job, but they're not
very good. Very good
playoff team this year.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're an 8th seed if they stay healthy. Again, because Lonzo cannot stay on the floor. Ingram is inconsistent being on the floor.
Those guys were a playoff team when they were on the Lakers.
Without a doubt. Lakers were easily a 4 seed.
They were, with LeBron. With LeBron. Those guys that got traded to the Pelicans were probably the worst team in basketball before LeBron got there. With Brook Lopez being there after his net stint, being underutilized, and Julius Randle on that team. Can we pump the brakes on the Pelicans? They got a lot of nice, young, talented players, but God, they need to become NBA players first. They're not there yet.
I don't know. When you look at Brandon Ingram's stats after the All-Star break, kid was an All-Star easily. Numbers were crazy. Blew away Jason Tatum's numbers.
He was very good, but let's just pump the brakes. We saw what these kids were when the team was in their hands, and it wasn't great. Let's let them have a team. Let's let them gel. And let's let them, again, none of those guys are going to be the stars of that team. Zion's a star. They're going to take a backseat again. Let's see how they handle that.
Don't you forget Drew Holiday. Don't you do that to the man. That is the star of the team, Drew Holiday.
Zion Williamson is the next star of the NBA. Drew Holiday is a very nice player. He's not a superstar. Zion Williams is the superstar of that team. Regardless of whether or not he plays like one, he's the superstar of that team. But all right, just because I love arguing with you so much, we're going to let the people stop hearing it. But Colton, lots of fun as always talking sports with you, man.
Always, man. Thank you for having me on.
So again, Overtime Heroics Podcast Network showcase, my buddy Colton Gesser, the creator, host of the Personal Foul podcast. Colton, where can people find you?
Well, as you touched on, you can find the podcast on Twitter at @foul_podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram and at C-Wagon.
Yeah.
But again, thank you for having me on. Talk sports. Hope to be back next week, starting the podcast back up. Find it on Spreaker. Have Trevor Lane on of the Los Angeles Lakers reporter. So getting back into business here.
Yep, definitely. And I have to mention, I mentioned it last week. I'm going to mention it every week. Let's bring College Game Day to the birthplace of football. Let's bring them to Rutgers. I'm still keeping that push going. Everybody go. I think it's Rutgers at Rutgers 150 on Twitter. Hashtag bring college football to the birthplace. We should have college football over at Rutgers. Don't you think College Game Day should come to Rutgers?
Rutgers needs to become more relevant in football.
And one way to do it is national exposure. Haha.
Or just being a good football team and not losing your recruits to Penn State, Michigan, and Michigan State. And
you stop it and get behind the hometown team? You're from Jersey, darn it.
Nope, go blue, baby.
Oh, Jesus, Christmas. See, this is what you guys have to look forward to, condescension. But again, I'm Alex Cuesta of the Sports Opinions podcast. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at @_Cuesta30. Find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30. Instagram, Sports Opinions 30. Visit the Facebook page, and wherever you are listening from, Spotify, Spreaker, YouTube, anywhere, iHeartRadio, that you're listening to this, please do me a favor. Give me a nice rating if you enjoy the show. If you hate the show, just don't give me a rating at all because that won't help. But give me a good rating. Give me a good review. Would love that. It helps bring this show higher, helps bring more people to listening to the show, and that will only help bring you guys more great content and great guests. Again, this was the Sports Opinions podcast. Everybody, have a good one.